Syntax definition. Syntax can be defined as a set of rules, principles, and processes that preside over the structuring of sentences in any given language. Syntax defines the rules that need to be followed when forming a sentence from words, clauses, punctuation, and phrase. Correct syntax involves the right choice of words, correct tenses, matching number, proper arrangement of words and phrase. Proper syntax, unlike diction, is comparatively strict. Abiding by the rule of syntax is very important in all kind of formal writing, and it is an indication that the writer is knowledgeable. Syntax example. Number 1. Example of sentence structure. The syntax is more a structure. The rules of syntax are aimed at bringing clarity and consistency in sentences. There are all sorts of common syntactical mistakes, and they are all easy to correct once the writer finds on what they are not doing right. For example, number 1. While traveling, people who take meal are very disturbing. The syntax of these sentences is incorrect. Number 2. People who take meal while traveling are very disturbing. Here, the syntax is correct. Number 3. Happy to welcome the forgotten son. She left early school. Incorrect syntax. Number 4. Happy to welcome her forgotten son and left the school early. Correct syntax. Here the issue is the modifier being out of place. A modifier can be a phrase or a word that is designed to transform another portion of a sentence, in most cases the subject. Misplaced modifier make a sentence lack clarity since they could be transforming multiple subject. Number 2. Punctuation example. Punctuation is the other area where writers commonly make mistakes. An example: come home tonight, I have something special for you. Incorrect syntax. Come home tonight, I have something special for you. Correct syntax. Improper punctuation is the primary concern here, as it makes the sentences imprecise. The use of exclamation mark to split the word into two sentences make it more readable and enhance the impact of the first sentence. In this case, come home tonight. Number 3. Choice of word example. The rules of syntax are very flexible when it comes to the choice of word. This is the area where writer and learner easily make mistakes. For example, number 1. To the city we are heading. Incorrect. Number 2. We are heading to the city. Correct. As per the rules of the syntax, to the city we are heading is technically right. The only problem is that the phrasing is outdated. Modern English only tolerates sentence in the order of object to subject to the verb and not vice versa. This is an example of how, how the rules of syntax can change over time, and the objective of the writer should be to make communication as precise as possible.
Deep and surface structure. The deep structure is the abstract structure that allows the native speaker of a language to know what the sentence means. It may then be said that the deep structure expresses the semantic contents of sentence, whereas the surface structure of a sentence determines its phonetic form. The surface structure is actually produced structure. It refers to the sentence as it is pronounced or written. Surface structure. Visiting doctor can be nuisance. Deep structure. We visit doctor. It can be nuisance. Doctor visit us. They can be nuisance. Surface structure system. Graphophonic system, letter or sound knowledge, alphabetic principle, phonemic awareness, decoding. Lexical system, visual word recognition based on frequent visual exposure to words, visual memory for all words. Syntax system, understanding of language structure at the word, sentence, paragraphs, and bold text level.
Deep structure system comprehend literally to get the gist of the story, comprehend deeply and proper idea. 1. Semantic system understanding both meaning from literal to subtle, discuss and write about experience or association relate to word precision and word choice in writing. 2. Schematic system constructing meaning at the whole text level, understanding them, ideas and concepts, storing and retrieving relevant knowledge, connecting the new to the now. 3. Pragmatic system multiply experience with idea wave read or learned, sharing and applying meaning, construction meaning through oral, written, artistic and dramatic mean. Writing for specific purpose and audience, revising thinking based on interaction with author, adopting the habit and more of reader and writer.
Structural ambiguity. Structural or syntactic ambiguity is the potential of multiple interpretation for a piece of written or spoken language because of the way words or phrases are organized. Linguistic ambiguity makes it difficult for a human or a system such as a natural language processing program to determine meaning unless further information is available that clarifies the context. The term structural ambiguity is often contrasted with lexical ambiguity, which often arises because words can have multiple meanings. Both are examples of linguistic ambiguity, which also result from other things, including figurative language and vagueness.
Recursion is the repeated sequential use of a particular type of linguistic element or grammatical structure. Recursive rules can be applied more than once in generating a structure. Example, repeat prepositional phrase more than once. Number 1. The gun was on the table. Number 2. The gun was on the table near the window. Number 3. The gun was on the table near the window in the bedroom. Example of recursion number 2. Put sentences inside outer sentence. Number 1. Mary helped George. Number 2. Katie knew that Mary helped George. Number 3. John believed that Katie knew that Mary helped George. Number 4. This is the cat that ate the rat that ate the cheese that was sold by the man that lived in the city that was on the river. We must also be able to put sentences inside outer sentence, as these sentences can be generated inside another sentence. No end to recursion that will produce longer complex sentences. Or syntactic analysis should account for the fact that a sentence can have another sentence inside it, or that a phrase can be repeated as often as required. Tree diagram symbol and example. A tree diagram is a way of representing the hierarchical nature of structure in a graphical form. It is named a tree diagram because the classic representation resembles a tree, even though the cut is generally upside down compared to an actual tree with the root at the top and the leaves at the bottom. The tree diagram provides us visual representation of the constituent of the corresponding expression.
A pre-structure rule is a series of reward rules. These rules break down sentences, establishing their basic structure regardless of the final form the sentence may take after transformational rules have applied. Each rules in a pre-structure rule have the form, which means X consists of Y and Z, which means that a sentence contains of a noun phrase followed by an auxiliary element like tense that in turn is followed by verb phrase. Successive pre-structure rules indicate what noun phrase, auxiliary, verb phrase, and other constituents in the sentence to account for. No complete pre-structure rule for English has yet been fully accepted. It is possible that none ever will be, for the pre-structure rules depend in part on theories that underlie them, and this changes with the linguistic and the year. Lexical rules. These rules turn those structures into understandable English. We need these rules that specify which word can be used when we edit or rewrite elements, such as noun becomes noun. The first rule in the following set situation that a proper noun rewrite as Mary or George. We can depend on these rules to make the grammatical sentence sound as 1 and 2. 1. The dog ate the bone. 2. The boy helped you. As a way too easy to be seen how the phrase structure rules form the basis of this sentence, we can draw the three diagrams for sentence. Movement rules. The very small set of phrase rules just described as a sample of what is more complex phrase structure grammar of English. This rule can be treated as representation of the basic or deep structure of sentence in English that is convenient for creating declarative form. In making the question, we move one part of one structure to a different position. This process we need to expand our phrase structure rules to include an auxiliary verb as a part of the sentence that show as below.